guys, welcome back to the vlog. It is super cold here in New York City, but I am going to show you guys my cute outfit. I'm going to do a quick OOT of the day. I am rocking this really cute two-piece tweed from Zara's, a mock neck turtleneck from Zara, my Chanel brooch, and my cute Henry Vendel bag.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. It's not under neon bright lights when I see you dancing on the Polaroid.
Hey guys, where am I? I am here with ELLE and Maison Du Chocolat. We are tasting some really great eclairs along with looking at the cutest jewelries from ELLE.
Just wanna have a good time, don't you? It all goes low, low, low. I don't wanna talk before the moment slowly slips away. Get a little dirty, baby, nothing you ain't gonna take, yeah. Fire burning like I do under my tattoos. There's a remedy, 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 yeah. And the way you go, baby, don't you know? There's a remedy, 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 yeah. Dressed in cigarette smoke, is it the print you wanna leave behind? Get all those cold eyes cold looking, but saying bye, bye, bye. I don't wanna talk before the moment slowly slips away. Get a little dirty, baby, nothing you ain't gonna take, yeah. Fire
I am gonna cry right now.
burning like I do under my tattoos. There's a remedy, 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 yeah. And the way you go, baby, don't you know? There's a remedy, 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 yeah. Darling Palooza, ain't gonna lose ya. I'm gonna do that. Darling Palooza, ain't gonna lose ya. Darling Palooza, ain't gonna lose ya. I'm gonna do that. Darling Palooza, ain't gonna lose ya. Was it hot for you, baby love? Hot for you, baby love. Hot for you, baby love. Hot, 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 hot for you, baby love. Hot for you.
For my camera. Oh, nice! I'm taking a risk. If it falls in the water, I'm
Hot for you, baby love. Hot for you, baby love. Hot for you, baby love. Hot, 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 hot for you, baby love. Hot for you, baby love. Yeah. Fire burning like I do under my tattoos. There's a remedy, 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 yeah. And the way you go, baby, don't you know? There's a remedy, 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 yeah. Yeah. There's a remedy, remedy, yeah. Oh no. Darling Palooza, ain't gonna lose ya. I'm gonna do that. Darling Palooza, ain't gonna.
Hey guys, I'm here with National
this idea that you could go online and chat with each other was yes, unusual, but it was amazingly addictive and fun.
Hi, I'm Steph Paternot, and I'm sorry, I'm still tripping out here that this is the first time in 20 years Todd and I are sharing a stage again, reminiscing over a story that occurred a lifetime ago. I mean, in internet terms, 20-25 years. Actually, that's one thing the show really recreates perfectly, is how novel all of this stuff seemed. Raising money for a virtual community was impossible, and we had to pitch everyone and explain what the internet was, and people would just, the internet, like, well, why can't they just pick up the phone and talk? Like, well, there's the instantaneous written stuff, like, well, there's fax machines. Okay, so it was back to pitching, and we hadn't built businesses before, so figuring out how to pitch, how to convince a person to write you a check was novel for us. It wasn't a typical thing that everybody does a startup now.
You guys got started in your dorm room, and like at a time when you said most people didn't even understand what the internet was. What gave you this initial idea to kind of connect the world through technology?
The fact that we were in our early 20s on campus on a Friday night, and before we would go out drinking, we were like, this is fun, just hanging out, talking to people, and that was what clicked.
Yeah, I mean, it was the ultimate nerdy thing, and as Todd mentions in the series, in the interview that you did, people use computers back in the 80s and 90s were antisocial. Everyone knows that when you use a computer, you're a loner. The cool people go out, and the nerds stay at home and play Dungeons and Dragons games that are loaded on cassette tapes on Commodore 64s. I'm sorry, I'm being too specific. And, so it's totally antisocial. And the minute we were able to hook up a modem from Todd's fraternity dorm room, and I had a laptop, you had maybe a laptop as well, we connected our 14.4 baud modem to each other, and we were able to chat via the internet to each other in the same room, and no one could know that we were in the same room. It was mind-blowing, and I think we realized that the power of the internet wasn't going to be just publishing in a one-way medium like media had always been, like via television or print, but that the real connection would be connecting users to each other. And I think it fulfilled probably a deeper psychological need that we as fellow nerds, and I'm sorry I'm bringing you down, I was definitely a lonely nerd. So feeling like I could connect with anyone was an amazing feeling. And I thought maybe just went along with it for kicks. I don't know.
And what your users wanted you to do.
I'll take the first part.
You guys ended up having a ton of users. Can you tell me about some of the communities that were on your platform?
So we just keep in mind that there is no other internet at this point. So we just made it up. We looked at what AOL was doing, and our perception of AOL was identical to the way it's presented in the show. It was sort of a long-term survivor, but definitely not cool. And we loved the idea of using graphics. And so the very first thing that was most popular for us that we sold subscriptions for was a chat function. And chat was not new at all. But the idea of having a graphical interface, and we were reading Neil Stephenson when he was young, and he had just written Snow Crash, which was the inspiration for avatars and VR goggles, and we loved that. And so we created these rooms called Absinthe and Tequila Sunrise, and they're, it's just as it's just what you think. And it immediately took off. We were unprepared for that, but for sure, the graphical nature was something completely new.
Yeah, there's somebody, I've seen people dig up graphics from our site on the Wayback Machine, and it is embarrassing. When we look back then and you see dozens and dozens of chat rooms that have the weirdest names, and 20, 30 users in a chat room, and then there's private chat rooms, and the whole thing seems clunky and embarrassing now, everything about it. But again, back then, Todd mentions casually like, oh, we were into graphics. But bear in mind, back then, everything was text-based, right? So Usenet groups were text-based. The browser was text-based initially until eventually you could load graphics. No, you couldn't center them on the page. They were left justified. But eventually you could center them on a page. Eventually the graphic could be clickable. So those things were super novel when we were doing them. And to have a chat room where you could have icons representing you instead of an IP address. So I could be sneaky, which is what my username was, and I won't embarrass you by saying what your username was. We each had our own little icon, and we saved those, and it was very special. You could identify who you were talking to in a chat room, because back then, again, lots of people talking, it's all text, when a little familiar graphic shows up. It's like a profile picture. So those were the things that made us stand out, and it sort of amazes me actually right now, because people are referencing Netscape and Pixelon and the Globe, is there's a lot of people who do not remember the Globe at all.